Hey, your name has.
Okay, so if Mariska and Sheila can just turn on their videos and microphones for me and just say hi to our audience so that we can get started.
Hello, good
Hey.
evening. This is
Hi.
Mariska Arabatela Daku, writer of children's books.
Ah. Hi, Mariska. I'm so honored to have you here this evening. Thank you so much for agreeing to come. I look forward to what I'm going to learn myself. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Sheila. I can see you.
Hi. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. I can't wait to hear views from everyone else, aside what we are going to discuss as well. So
All right. I hope the children are fine.
everyone is fine by God's grace.
All right. And how is the Easter been so far?
It's been a little busy because of church activities, but well, it's also been relaxed because of the holidays, the long holidays. So
Yeah.
fine, yeah.
Yeah, Monday is coming up. How about you, Mariska? Have you been
It's
enjoying?
also it's been hectic. I've been to a book launch.
All right. I think the internet is okay. I'm guessing we are having a little. Okay. Mariska, are you back? Okay, no, she's not. I guess she's frozen. I'll just send her a message that the internet is frozen from her end so that we can resume. Okay, but thank you so much, everybody. Mariska, are you back? Okay, I guess we lost her. Maybe she will join us again, but I'll quickly just send a message. So, Sheila, it's just me and you, and it's good to have
Okay.
you here today. Okay, and exciting. We are going to talk about how we can help our children develop a love for reading. And
Yeah.
you have a lot of experience writing for children. And I wonder how you do it, what you put inside, and what we as parents or teachers, because I know a number of teachers on the call who are not parents, but teachers. So I'm guessing they also want that insight to see how they can apply it in their classrooms and other things. So I'll get into it. I'll see if I can get Mariska back online, but if not, I'll just go through the profiles and
Okay.
then we can get started. I have just 4 questions, maybe 5. And then I will let the participants also ask the questions. And I have some special guest facilitators who were not on the flyer, but Association of Men who said their fathers who have an input to make to this conversation. So I'll let them also give me their take, you know, I had a bashing on one of my pages for using only mothers. So I will get some male views as well for this conversation. So thank you all so much. And then let me just share the profiles and then we can. Okay, wonder.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Oh, you're
Mhm.
welcome.
My internet is very on and off today. I don't know why. So it will keep going on and off. Yeah.
That's sad. I'm hoping it will stay on for us because we were out of here soon.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I was in your absence, I was talking about how I was going to share your profiles so people have an idea of who we are talking about. And these these are people who are doing what I wish I could do, but I'm not able to get myself to do. So I'll just get through the profiles. I'll start with Mariska. She's a published writer, poet, and youth motivator. She's published several books. Yes. You saw some, I think, at the beginning, if you met us at the start where I was sharing the slides, the looping reel. So she has A Secret to Detoxifying Your Life and Love, Rhythms of Poetry, which is so great. It's not easy to write poems. The Iced Water Cellar, and an ebook titled A Widow Must Not Speak, The Dear Hands, and then King Goats Are Punching. I think King Goats Are Punching is like your latest, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think that's like the newest book. And King Goats Are Punching took third prize in the Ghana Association of Writers Literary Awards. I Love Ghana, and then The Proud Peacock. And then her poems are featured in anthologies such as According to Sources, by Martin Egblewogbe Elas, Tambien Quentin, by Federico Vivanco. Yay. Okay. Inspiration African Voices. I hope I got that right. Door of No Return, Our Spirits Carry Our Voices, and Sisters Across Oceans, and various blogs. Wow. Including the online poetry site, oneghana.voice.com. So her short story, The Proud Peacock, was selected among 12 stories out of the 80 submitted for an anthology in Story Come, published in East and West Africa. Another short story, Escape, was featured in the Writers Project anthology. Resilience. She has also been published in Jambo, an East African magazine. Mariska has performed on stage and at festivals in Ghana and the United Kingdom. She's a longtime collaborator with the Women Poets International Movement, which is Mujeres Poetas Internacional. I guess I got that. In partnership with the Grito de Mujer. Okay, all my Spanish is coming today because of Mariska. She has 2 blogs, which you should check out. African Woman's Poetry blogspot.com and fantimamewordpress.com. All her books can be found on Amazon. I think this should just tell you she's done it all and been all that. And you can imagine with so many books written for children and poems and all that, she would be able to give us that insight that we are looking for on how to develop a reading passion in children. So Mariska, thank you so much. Such a profile. Thank you. I'm going to move on to Sheila. And Sheila is the Associate Publishing Consultant at Print Innovation and the Executive Director at Innovation Books. She's Print Innovation is a complete publishing solution for the African author. Yeah, I can say that. She's also an editor, she's a ghostwriter, she's a blogger, she's an entrepreneur who is passionate about writing, especially for children. She has authored many books, which include Against Her Will, Chocolate Drops, The Champion, Asantewa, Chasing Waterfalls. I remember Chasing Waterfalls. Adiza's Dazzle, Sam's Wish, Little Rabbits, Big Lesson, and other books. She's a wife and a mother of 3, and her aim is to instill the habit of reading in children and inspire the younger generation onto good works through her books. And so we are so excited because that's our aim too on the call, to instill this habit of reading in children. So thank you all. And now we have an idea of who our facilitators are, Sheila and Mariska. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm going to start off, and I will start off with you, Sheila. My first question, and when you are done answering, I'll let Mariska also answer it, which is, why should we bother about developing a reading habit in our children? Why should we even bother about it?
Oh, okay. I believe, as well as everyone else, I think, believes that children hold our future. And reading is a very important um, subject when it comes to their development. So I am more concerned about getting them to read because that's where they get most of their knowledge. That's where they get most of their values. And that's where they get most of their training to grow. You understand? Yeah. So I started writing because my two boys were they were scattering about. They were just going up and down. I'm so sorry. I seem to be fumbling.
They were just using the time they could use for reading and other things. They were using it just
they were just playing about.
Yeah.
Yes. So I realized that reading was part of my growing up. It was a major part of my growing up, and it has really impacted my today. My today, aside school, aside friends, aside everything else, reading has really impacted my stand here today. Yeah. So if we want our children to be at a better place in the future, you might not be there, but you know that you have instilled something in them that will guide them even when you are not around, even when teachers are not around, even when they are on their own. Yes. Yes. Okay. So we have to be very particular about getting them to read, to learn, to understand the values of life.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mariska. Okay, she seems frozen again. Which is interesting. I'm guessing it's the internet. Okay, so if I okay, I think we've lost her. She'll try and join her. Wow, UK internet is messing it up. Thank you. So I'm saying what you are saying is that it's good for us to set the right foundation for them
Yes.
from an early age so that
Yes.
they grow with it, And I mean, we all went through school, all of us, whether we enjoyed reading or not. Is there a difference between somebody who has developed that love for reading and somebody who hasn't? Because, well, we have friends, we know people who didn't particularly like reading, but they made it through school with all of us, So what advantage really is there in developing or instilling these important habits in our children?
Okay. What I always tell my children is that when you read, you travel far. Even in the corner where you sit, you still get to learn something that is going on outside of your zone, outside of your domain. Yeah. So between someone who reads and someone who doesn't read, you can notice because when there's a topic or there's a conversation going on, the one who reads tends to contribute more. And you can also notice that wherever they find themselves, they belong. Should I say they belong? Yeah, they seem
know how to fit in.
Yes, they fit in easily. They fit in easily. Yes. When you read, your mind opens up to a lot of things. Some of the things you wouldn't even know are possible. But the moment you read, you realize that, okay, I can do this way. I have read this somewhere. I know this. I have learned this thing somewhere. I have read this somewhere. Sometimes your curiosity would want to explore more, want you to explore more, and you tend to get more knowledge, more insight, and more info. Yeah. So wherever you find yourself, be it maybe you're answering questions in class. I'm talking about children.
Yeah.
If an attentive reader will tend to contribute more to what is being discussed and not just what is being taught in the classroom. When he finds or she finds herself amongst her friends and they are discussing about, stuff. Sometimes they discuss stuff on television. Sometimes they discuss about their environment. You tend to, or he or she tends to contribute more. It's not left out, fits in easily. Yeah.
That gives you the child a sort of like a 360-degree advantage in
Yes.
all points, whether it's just at home or interacting with your friends or in class. Basically, just that
Yes.
the love for reading, puts you at an edge. And I always say that, I mean, even if it's mathematics, you're going to have to read it in your book. Everything you learn in school is going to be read at a point, essentially, because we are dealing with textbooks and exercise books
Yes.
and all that. So there is reading a storybook shouldn't be something separate from, oh, this is not really what I'm doing in school. At the end of the day, everything has to be read. Let me just check. Mariska, are you back online? Okay. We were having some internet challenges some time back, and now it's like it's somewhere else. Okay, so Mariska is still not here. So I think I will just move on, Sheila, and ask you if there are books or areas. Okay, she's back. Ooh. Okay, maybe you can, I don't know. Okay, I was come to suggest you stay off video.
Yeah, I've moved from my laptop to the phone, so it seems to be picking it up better.
Okay, all right. Okay, glad to have you back. So whilst you were gone, I was asking Sheila two questions. First, I asked her why we should bother about developing a reading habits in our children, and also what advantage it really gives the children over other people who don't have the love for reading.
Reading is very, very important. It's the foundation of everything we do, just like we are building a house. The foundation has to be solid. And we as parents or adults have to cultivate this love of reading in our children from a very early age. By one, the child should be looking at picture books and things, going through and asking you in the way that they can, what is this? What is this?
Wow, one, wow.
There are children at one that can point to something and say, car, 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 because the parent has constantly been saying that to the child. And it's got the three-letter word. So as they get to about the age of 3, those things are like very, very familiar with them. And we need to get the children to read not just as part of studying in school. They need to love to read. They need to love the stories. We have to read stories to them. We have to let them tell us imaginary stories, because when they use their imagination, they become creative. So you could pick an item in the house and say, tell me a story about this. Let's say, imagine the kettle in the kitchen could talk. What would the kettle tell you? So the child starts being creative.
Sorry, Mariska, you seem to be breaking again. Oh, it's such a shame because she's saying something so important. Mariska, you seem to be breaking.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I was so fascinated by the point you were making about getting the children to tell you imaginary stories, because I wanted to ask, at what age are we talking about for this? I mean, is it very young children or?
Very as young as possible. I mean, imagine if they can start at 2 and tell you something. If they start at 3, depends on the age or the development of your own child, and you should know. And the more you start speaking to children in adult.
Okay, I'm still going to hold on. Okay, I'm going to wait for, we are going to wait for Mariska to come back online. Oh, she's
Can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can. You keep going off. I'm suggesting you go off video. Sometimes it uses less, so that we can just enjoy
Okay.
your speech without the break, because you are making some really wonderful points. So you can go off video, just stay with the audio, and then if that's sorted, you can. I think she's gone for now. Okay, Sheila. All right. Okay, so I'm going to also ask you, Sheila, because from where Mariska was talking, she's talking about how early we should introduce this to the children. I wanted to ask you, what's the ideal age to start reading or trying to develop these habits in the children?
I will say the ideal age is 0. From as young as
Pressure.
a newborn, yes. As young as the baby just drops, you can start instilling the habit of reading in this child. So those children are more interested in storybooks with big pictures and one-liners. So you can start with telling them stories. Your facial expressions will interest them or heighten their interest. As time goes on, you introduce books, picture cards and all that, flip cards and all that, yes. And as they grow, you add on with the words and then with the books. Yeah. So as early as a newborn, you can just start instilling the habit of reading in them, or the love for books in them. Yeah.
And I think that sometimes it's also because, we will be surprised at how intelligent our children are. Now, I recently remember hearing Oprah Winfrey say she started reading at 3 years. And I was thinking, many of our children at 3 years, we would say they are not able to read. But if you expose them to words by 2, they will once they begin to familiarize themselves with the words, you see that by age 3, they'll be able to, when you put those words together, they'll be able to pronounce and identify it. And I have somebody like that in my house. So I know it very well that at first I thought, this is an exaggeration, 3 years now, you can't really read. But I realized it's just exposing them to the words. After some time, when you string those words together, you get them to read. So I think that even though it's a big thing, big challenge, 0 years, many of us don't have it as part of us. Our children are smarter with wider, IQs than we can ever imagine if you can just.
The brain, at that age, their brain is very fresh. It's like a sponge. It's like a clean slate. Yeah, so they're able to absorb everything and anything you give them. So you, as a parent, the only thing you need to do is make sure that you are instilling the right books or introducing the right books to them.
All right, Mariska is back.
Mariska is back now.
Yeah, I'm listening to you on one gadget and trying to connect with the other, so I can hear all you're talking about.
Okay, this one seems clearer. Okay. Okay, still frozen. So however you're able to, you can continue from where you were. You were telling us about how from an early age we could make the children tell us imaginative stories. You were actually breaking down how ways in which we could develop these habits, even though we are not there yet. But you could continue from that line. And then also help us to understand why we should take reading serious as parents or as teachers, whatever, to instill it in children. Okay, off she goes. Okay, all right. Sheila, do I still have you? You also seem frozen.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Mariska, yes, the floor is yours.
Yeah, we should take it serious. And I really admire people who teach preschool.
Yeah.
It's the most difficult stage, Can you hear me?
Yes, please, we can.
Okay, I'm going to go off video. I don't know. Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So we have to really desire to want our children to be better and have more than we had when we were growing up. And we've got so many techniques that have been taught to us on how to get the children to be reading and to love reading. And one of the ways is to get interesting topics that they can relate to. So it has to be things within their environment. We don't want to start them reading with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs because they can't relate to something like that, right? So we have to tell them Anansi stories and stories that are sort of to do with the environment that they are growing up in. And then they will be more interested in them. Animals that they know. We don't want to talk about reindeers. We don't want to talk about the snowman. We don't want to talk about those things, you know. So start them off with what they know and start them in your mother tongue. Because if you speak your mother tongue at home often, why don't you tell stories in your mother tongue? Children can be bilingual, they can be trilingual, you know. And then when they start knowing the story in Tree or Ewe or Dabani, Gan, and then you tell the same story slowly in English, they put the two and two together, right? Their brains are sharper than us.
Wow.
I mean, before the age of 6, they are the AI of our time because I heard you say they're like a sponge. They soak everything up and they can do it. But we have to encourage and praise them and not beat them when they make a mistake. You know, rather correct them and let them keep repeating, and it stays in their minds. You know, that love, they have to see you reading as a parent.
Wow, Mariska, this is like so much. I mean, that's a lot for us to take, especially when you spoke about the local language. I was like, this is a whole new dimension to this reading project. And I'm sure many people will be like, wow, I don't know. It looks like it's something we are losing today. A lot of the parents are just teaching in English, communicating in English. And even when you spoke about the reindeer and I don't recall anything, but I realize more and more that our children are talking about foreign things like what's a snow? And then like they've never seen snow before, but that's what they see and that's what they read in their books. So which is also another discussion for us to look at. And that's why for me, having both of you is great because you show us that there are local books that talk about us, that we can encourage our children to read, to learn about us, and not just, you know, something foreign or from outside. All right. Okay, so I'll just I'll come back to you, Mariska, because I want you to break down for me the tips. I realize you want to go into them. I mean, how to develop that habit. I want you to just break them down for me. But I'll go back to Sheila and then I'll ask her, you know, for a parent who says, okay, well, before I ask the question, I would just like to encourage us to drop our questions in the chat. All right. And if you have any questions, please get ready. I would really love to hear from all of us. So please drop your questions in the chat. I think after this, I would love to really hear from you. If you have questions too at this point, I think you can raise your hand and then I'll call you and then we can start taking questions because it's supposed to be a conversation. So it's not supposed to be one-sided. So I'll take questions. If I don't have questions at some time, I have some people I'll call to also contribute. But in the meantime, Sheila, I just want to find out from you when a parent says, oh, my child doesn't like reading. my child likes other things, maybe listening to music, or I don't know, any other thing, or for a parent to say, well, my child is good at other things, is interested in other things, but doesn't really like reading. Should it be like a case for concern, or people are just different? How do we deal with it?
Okay. Reading, as we have established from the beginning, is a very important role. It plays a very important role in the development of our children. So we cannot just sit back and accept that my child doesn't like reading. Maybe we all have our traits, we all have our hobbies, we all have our interests. But since reading plays a very important role, we should insist that it's part of their interest. Because, well, and I have also realized that a child emulates what he or she sees from the parents. So as a parent yourself, if you don't like reading, you cannot insist that your child also goes to read. If not, the child will see it as a punishment. So if you want your child to see or to develop the interest in reading, you as a parent should also develop that interest and enjoy that habit, so that when the child sees you enjoying that, he or she would also want to emulate it. Yes. So it can be an interest that is developed, maybe not born with, but developed as he or she sees from the parents. Yeah. So.
And that reminds me of a quote I read sometime, that there's nothing like a child doesn't enjoy reading. You just haven't found the books that they enjoy. So I'm guessing, well, sometimes we may need to try other books, other forms of literature. For instance,
Yes.
you may have a child who doesn't like maybe the regular storybooks, but has these animation books. You see guys with all these action and fighting and a lot of pictures, but small text at the top. And you see a lot of boys enjoy to read that. Than to
Those
sit down
comics.
exactly, comics. Than to sit down and pick a Daniel Steele book and pretend as if, yeah, they have arrived. They would rather read something like that. And I think that maybe it would be good if we just accepted it as, yes, if this is what they are, this is the format that they prefer the reading in, maybe I should try it that way. So thank you very much. There's a question from Alberta. I think I will take it, but I don't know if Mariska is here. So I want us to now, let me see if I have. Okay, all right. So we've spoken about a lot of the questions. So I want us to get into the tips. How do you develop this habit in children? Mariska, please, are you on? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay, good. So you were speaking about the role of parents in developing these habits in their children. So I think you can pick up from there and then give us some more tips for how we can do this.
Basically, the child has to see a lot of books in the house. The child has to see during the quiet, or like something like today, when you put the TV on, there's not much on TV. So why don't you switch it off and have a reading period where all of you are sitting with either the newspaper, with comics, with a book, and you can ask them, what are you reading? Oh, tell me about it, And then the child finds that maybe daddy, who is always out before they get up and go to school, and he comes back when they're asleep, at least they have that quality time with him when it's to do with books. So they associate books with good times.
Wow.
The same with the mother, out early, back late. But when it's reading time, we have mommy and daddy, or we have mommy, They will go and pick a book and come to you and say, Mommy, let's read, or Mommy, read to me.
Yeah.
It is something start from a very early age. And then when you go to book fairs and let the child choose what they want. Don't look at it and say, oh no, you can't have that. It's talking about ghosts and spirits. Maybe that's what the child wants. Maybe it's about cowboy and Indians. Maybe it is about escaping into space. and you want them to read maybe something about Ya Santua, they will not be interested. You know, let them pick what they want to read. If you have more than one, each picks, and then you tell them you can only have it if you finish reading and you swap with your brother or sister. So then they will both look for something that they both like, and then they will start, you know, reading and all that. You can even do it that, okay, every 2 days, I'm going to ask you what you read, you know, what you read when you had your free time. And that way, they will also be encouraged to read. But parents have to be the ones reading. Like Sheila said, if you don't read, how can you expect your child to read? You know, and if you're
Hi, Priscilla, are you asking a question? Hey, okay, Priscilla, can you please mute yourself? Okay, thank you. Okay, you can go ahead, Mariska.
Yeah, so like I said, they watch you and they copy you. So a parent who always goes out and comes home with a book, you know, take them to a library. There are these book hubs that are coming out around town. Go there, sit with them, let them read. Even if you want to go and chat outside or something, leave them there to have their hour or half an hour with books that they could go around looking at, you know. And then make reading time a special time.
Okay, interesting. Make reading time a special time. All right. I think I liked that, especially when you spoke about how it would like how they see it as a time where mommy is present, daddy is present, because now a lot of parents are absent. So if they associate reading with the presence of mommy or daddy, it could really help. I'll be also interested in finding out if there are other ways you can make reading time a special time. But maybe I'll come back to you on that. So I'm just picking the tips and the ways in which we can develop, because that's like the main point of our discussion. I don't know. I'll come to you, Sheila. I don't know if Eben can unmute and then make his contribution. I can see you, Eben. Good.
Yeah. Right. So
yeah, Eben.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Eben.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I just wanted to say that I've seen you recently, like, go around schools and do some work with children.
Sure.
Tell me about it.
So exactly. So it was so the school where my children are, they had a literacy week. So one of the highlights was for parents to read to the children. So they kind of selected a number of parents. I happen to be the PTA vice chair as well. So they invited me to come to some of the classes to read to them. So incidentally, I got books from Sheila. Some titles were from Mariska and then Sheila. So I've actually promised some of the teachers in the class they should give me the numbers in the class so that I come to take other copies for all the children in the class. So I'm sure that will happen when school reopens. Yeah, so basically, you know, you kind of stand in front of them and then you read and then you ask them questions. And in fact, with the African writers, when I did that, I was like, oh wow, the lessons in it and the contributions they made, I was amazed, because in my mind, I thought, I mean, this case wouldn't, but they really surprised me. So as you were talking about, I mean, earlier on saying that we have to instill this as early as age 0. I mean, I really was picking that, and I said, yeah, this is so true, because if you think that they have to get to a certain age, then you'll be deceiving yourself. You know, my third born, the girl, she's now 4, but I think between age 2 and 3, thereabout, I'm not too sure, either age 2 or earlier, you move around with her, and when she sees a dog, she will never tell you that that is a dog. She will say, Daddy, look at the brown dog. When she sees the track, look at the black track, look at the white. No, so she always qualifies with an adjective. I mean, something that to kind of bring a distinction between the kind of track she has seen, and then the one, and then she asked me how many, tiles, or is it tires or wheels does a track have? How many does? And I began to explain to her, okay, bicycle by 2, tricycle 3. So every car you see 4, then tracks. And then she asked again the other day about the track. I said, but I already mentioned the track also. Apparently, she has seen that the big tracks, each of them has, apart from the 4, they have additional ties that are attached to the main 4. So they are about 8 or 6. It's not, so she thinks I'm telling lies.
You have to be, you have to be careful with these little children.
So when you said that these children of today, I was like, look, she drilled me, and I was like, oh my. Sincerely, cultivating reading habits in them, it's non-negotiable, and it should be as early as possible. For me, I think this is so helpful. When Sheila mentioned that they were playing and scattering things around, I have a similar story here that pushed me on. I said, no, these children must be occupied with books so that I get my peace of mind if I'm home, and they wouldn't be troubling me and doing all those things. So I sincerely on the side with all that has been discussed. In fact, I think that our panelists have been superb in their submissions, and what I'm just saying is just an add-on. It shouldn't change anything. I seriously agree with all that they have said, and I am in that with them. For me, it's not negotiable. I was so young in the village when my father gives me pocket money to go to school. I use it to buy newspapers, and that time, I was writing African sports.
Wow.
And that's where, so I'll just go and buy the newspaper, and I'll not eat. I'll beg people for some of their food and eat.
Wow.
That was where I cultivated my writing skills.
Wow.
And how I began to speak. People do. So when I share with people, they're like, oh, wow. Yeah. I just will use the money, buy Africa sports paper. And so my first ever feature article was the graphic sports. Before I came to BNT and the rest and all that at a very young age. So let's cultivate this in them. It's non-negotiable, especially in these days where we even have soft stuff where they can read in soft or whatever. There's absolutely no excuse. And I think that it's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wait, don't be in a hurry to leave like that, because I have a follow-up question for you.
Okay.
And I will ask Evans too, I'm sure later. I think that there's a lot of, I don't know, but from where I come from, the children seem to spend a lot more time with their mothers than with the fathers. And I find it unfortunate. And so I just want to ask what fathers can do to actually contribute to this, to make sure that their children develop this right habits, because it seems like the raising of the children, at least in African society, has fallen more on the mothers than the fathers. And so,
yes,
it seems like the fathers have taken a back role, but I don't know how.
That's right.
What message you have for them, or how you feel they can also join the conversation? I mean, join the...
Yes. So the message I would say, first of all, is that the good news is that the African father of today, in my time, is better than the African father of yesteryear in terms of their contribution to the children reading. And I can say it emphatically. I have done my own research a bit and realized that the African father of now makes a lot of contribution. And I'm sure Auntie Mariska herself will agree to this, that those days when fathers were not helping in the kitchen, when they were not helping in the house chores, when they were not washing, now they do. In the same way, when it comes to reading and kind of helping the children, kind of letting them, I think there are a lot of fathers who have improved tremendously, if you want to look at that. But the truth is that majority are still not doing that. That African trait is still in fathers. And I really want to encourage that. Surprisingly, when the fathers even take a chance to do that, I don't know, but I realize the impact is even much greater. Because you see, the child has that kind of bond with their mother. Oh, my mom should be soft, should be calm. Oh, don't worry. But when the father comes home, those days, killer has come. Everybody is running helter-skelter to go and hide, because the first question your dad will ask, have you read this? Have you studied this? Before you go out to play football, have you read your book? And I remember getting ready for BEC. He said, Have you done the mathematics, solved questions for 2 hours before stepping out? You know you will ask. So you want to do that. So I really want to throw this challenge to our fathers that I can tell you on authority that when fathers take charge of this, the impact is much greater.
Yeah.
But our mothers, our wives have done so well. The women have been excellent. But fathers, this should be a challenge to all fathers, because I have seen the impact become so greater when we throw ourselves into this and try to see that, look, let us be for the children. It shouldn't be that, oh, for father, he goes out and come. Father, we know, Monday to Friday, he will always go and come.
Yeah.
It is meant for fathers to go and come, but it is meant for mothers to always be with the children. I think that's so wrong.
Yeah.
And fathers should take charge of this,
Yeah.
because the impact is greater. It is twice as much as what the mothers do. The mothers have done so well. So please, fathers, instill in them, speak to your children, have a lot of tete-a-tete with them, have a lot of time to kind of guide them. And on top of it, maybe let me say that the icing on the case is that if every month or every quarter, fathers can pass through where we have children's book and buy books for their children, that would be so good.
Wow.
Can we add that one to our budget?
I
that
know,
at least
right?
every quarter or every month, we want to buy some books, we want to buy Mariska's books, we want to buy Sheila's books, we want to buy all the books that we think that it can occupy the children. And once you buy them, you will be forced to be able to be with them, help them to be able to what? Cultivate the habit of reading. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amen. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So I think for me, what stood out was the fact that the impact by the father seems to be greater than that of the mothers, except if, of course, it's a single parent, then just one person. But like you're saying, the children will be more relaxed if it's their mom. It's like, oh, mommy is just encouraging us. But daddy is like, you have to do it. And that's what makes it interesting.
Give me an opportunity.
Okay, so Charles Kofi, I'm going to allow you to speak now. All right, please go on.
All right, thank you very much. I'm very grateful to be part of this particular conversation. First of all, I would like to thank mothers for the role they are playing in the lives of our children. In fact, specifically, my wife, Grace Shotu, she started something, and somehow I have come to see that if I also include, or if I also come on board the guys that is my children, they'll do very well. You know, when it comes to Jehovah Witnesses, they give a lot of opportunity to the children in the theocracy section. You know, every Wednesday evening, they go for this theocracy meeting. And the children are given opportunity to do assignments by reading the Bible and doing other drama. And out of these, my children has just picked up in such a way that the kind of books that the oldest one now is 10 and then 8.
Wow.
2 of them, if they read at the meeting, the kind of applause or the kind of appreciation that they give them sometimes passes my understanding. So I'm trying to say that if the religious side, the kids are given the opportunity to also read, to also come out, it helps them improve drastically. In fact, when I saw that these 2 guys, they read and they pay attention to all the punctuation marks, everything, and gestures, everything, it has made me to also begin to come on board. And now, the way I started coming on board, sometimes I'm even not ready to listen to them, and they will bring books.
Wow.
And they will read and they'll begin to ask me to ask them questions.
Wow.
And some words which are somehow difficult, they would ask me to pronounce the words for them. Sometimes some of the words, even myself, sometimes I find it difficult to pronounce them. But with the help of the dictionary and Google, I'm able to pronounce it and then teach them. And these guys, I don't know. It has the Christianity, that is the Jehovah Witness side, has helped them so well.
Wow.
So I want to say to parents, unfortunately, as I look at the participants, the number of male as compared to female are so few. And I would want to encourage the few male participants who are here now to come on board, like Sir Evans was saying,
Amen.
so that these young ones can be given that particular directions by fathers. You know, like the other man was saying, if fathers comes on board, sometimes they're able to instruct in such a way that the kids takes it and they takes it more than the mothers. You know, mothers, you tend to pamper in a way. You tend to be a bit I don't know the word to use. You tend to be a bit
more lax than the
gentle on them than the male. So please, this particular section, this particular meeting is very, very good. And I would want to encourage the organizers to do it in such a way that a lot of male parents can come on board.
Pressure,
so that they would also end up helping mothers. Like I said, my wife, Grace Sotu, it's so powerful. It has encouraged me to also begin to help them.
Wow,
So I'm very grateful to Mariska. It's Mariska who shared this particular link to me. And I just joined. And as I listened, I've seen that no, it's so helpful. I'm very grateful.
Thank you so
Auntie
much.
Mariska, it's your husband, Charles. Thank you so much. And you too, the host, I'm very grateful. Everything is so impactful. Enjoy the rest of the evening. I'll keep listening.
Okay, thank you
God bless
so
all
much.
of you.
Okay, thank you. So
You're
I think for me, what I picked from what she said was how other bodies could also contribute to improving the literacy of our children generally. And I think it's good if we have not just the parents, but like you said, some of these religious institutions. And as you spoke about it, it made me remember, because I grew up reading Ever, because I used to read the Ever Bible in church. And that's the only place I read it.
Okay.
And so now people ask me, oh, can you read Ever? And I'm like, yeah, I read it. I read it all the time. I'm a fluent reader. You know, not because I read it at home for anything, but because when I was growing up, I was given the opportunity to read it in church many times. And so, you know, that really helped. And so for me, if somebody is here who plays a role in any religious institution or group, and you can have avenues to help the children, you know, make books available to them, do a library for the church, whatever, or group, whatever. I think for me, that really hits me. And so thank you so much for giving that interesting perspective. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you too, my sister. God bless you. Bye.
Okay. So there's another hand raised, but of course, my speakers haven't spoken in a while, so I don't want to take them out. So I'm going to just throw this question to both Mariska and Sheila. And also to remind everybody that you can drop your questions in the chat. So the question here is asking us to talk about the effect of, so it was one of my questions, but so the effect of TV, mobile phone, basically the technology that we have, the screens that are competing with physical books today. How do we deal with them in developing these habits in our children? So I can start off from maybe Mariska, if you can just help us to navigate this. So whether there are positive sides and negative sides, how do we deal with it? How do we deal with a generation that would rather watch TikTok videos than read a book? I mean, how do we do it?
Okay, it's right now IT and all those social medias and that they're a necessary evil, because all the schools are going into technology and using the system for teaching and all that, most of the schools. Now, first of all, I'll do with TV. You can have
Okay. I seem to have lost Mariska. Oh, okay. Sheila, can you hear her? I don't seem to be able to hear.
No, I cannot. I think she went off.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sure she'll join us. So you just take it and then just help us to answer the question. How we can deal
Okay, so
with
we are
it.
talking about
Screens, TV, mobile phone, and its impact on reading, the reading habits of children. Basically, if it's good, bad, how do you manage it? Big question today.
Okay, so for TV, the rule I have in my house is from Monday to Friday, there's no TV. We put a TV on Friday evening and Saturday evening.
Wow.
That's when the children get time to watch programs, and even with our supervision. Yes. So growing up, I didn't get a phone till I turned 21. But today, a child as young as 9 years old can have a phone. And well, it is how far the world has brought us. We cannot change it. So we have to accept it. So how do we help, or how do we use this to our advantage? I believe that there are a lot of apps, there are a lot of games that encourage reading in the children. The phones should be used with supervision, because if you don't take care, they can use it, they can go anywhere they want. You never know where they are going. So with our supervision, we have to download such games or such apps on the phone so that we know that this is what they are reading, such as games such as Scrabble. It is a word building game.
Wow.
You can be addicted to it at the same time you are learning. Games such as word puzzles. There's this game, Hang the Man. It is now on our phones. We used to play that when we were in school, Hang them. I don't know whether you remember, or fill the blanks. Okay. And then I discovered recently that there's a game called I Read. This game is such that it gives you multiple pictures, and then it gives you sentences. So when you read a sentence, you identify the picture the sentence is talking about. Okay. So we as parents, we have to insist, or we have to be mindful of the apps and the games or the programs that these phones and these tablets have, that our children watch or our children view. We cannot stop them. For TikTok, as Mariska was saying, I no, with our supervision, we can should I say, we can curb some of the things they view on their, where you know that on Monday you don't watch TV till Friday evening, where you can have access to the remote, or you can have access to your programs, and they have it at the back of their heads that when it's Thursday, when it's Monday, when it's Tuesday, there's no TV, it's books. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. I would really like to have a perspective from people who have like maybe teenagers and older. I don't know if there's anybody on the call like that to also tell us how they are able to manage and just encourage their children to read, basically, because I assume it's easy to tell a 4-year-old no TV from Monday to Friday, but 14 years, I don't know if we can have that same conversation. So I would really like to have that perspective. Mariska, please, are you back? Is Mariska back? Okay, she's not. Okay, all right. Okay, I think Uncle Charles has raised. There was a second hand that was raised I haven't seen it in a while, but all right. Okay, I see Charles Kopi has raised his hand. Maybe he wants to just deal with that.
Yeah, I'm back, but
Good.
all my equipment is just failing me today.
Oh,
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, like Sheila, I agree with everything Sheila said. You have to regulate TV time.
mhm.
You have
Recording
to
in progress.
you have to put apps on the phone that you can control. Um, you have to monitor, and then if you get Kindles, you can only download books on Kindles, and
Yeah.
you can download a lot of animation.
Okay.
So they can listen and watch at the same time. They can interact, ask questions and things. Just lower the light on the screen because too much bright light on the screen can disturb them. So find ways of integrating both the reading and using all these equipment as well. But it has to be for the TV.
Have we lost Mariska again? Oh, she was making such an interesting point.
Yeah, for the TV, it's up to the parents to monitor their watching time. And that way you'll have a bit of control over how it affects them.
All
So
right.
everything Sheila said,
It's
I would have
basically the
said
same
anyway.
thing. Okay. So I think that for me, and I see your hand, Evans. I've already planned to call you, so don't worry, I'll call you. I think for me, one thing I take away is that, it's not a bad thing. Screen is not a bad thing. Phone is not a bad thing. It's not bad in itself. But I think the way we manage it, because like you said, I mean, there are many apps out there that can help the children, help us to just, guide them to enjoy reading, which we should use instead of taking the posture that we shouldn't. I mean, screen is bad and all that. And I think it's good because we have to start accepting it. Some of the things, they are not going away. They are here with us to stay. All right. And I will come back to you, Sheila and Mariska, to ask you, to just give us a message for the teachers on the call and what they can do in their classrooms to change things. But for now, I have 3 hands, and I'm going to just allow the 3 hands to speak. So in this order, I will take Evans, then I will take Charles, then I'll take Alexander. So you can please unmute yourself and then please make your point. Hi, Evans.
Thanks for the opportunity. First of all, Charles, you said per your observation, we have few men here. Well, for your information, few men were invited, and that's why we have few men representation. So please blame the organizers that we do not have the men here.
Wait, okay, just to give everybody some sort of context, I think Evans was the first person to reach out to me and ask me why I have an all-female panelist. I mean, panel
Exactly.
group. And I really,
Exactly.
I didn't think, I just thought, oh, these are great writers. So I'm really sorry. Next time I have to do like a remix of this thing and then bring 1 male, 1 female.
Yeah.
So please.
Whilst Charles was speaking, I said, oh yeah, somebody is validating my point. Somebody is validating my point. Because
Oh.
it takes two to tango, it takes two
Hmm.
to raise a child. But to my substantive point, thank
Hey.
you. Thank you for this opportunity. I guess, and that's why I feel a lot of us, the men, need to hear some of these perspectives. Because a lot of us have not in a very long while been oriented on our roles in a simple subject as helping the children become able to read. We have been oriented on providing and making sure the children have what they need, but it's not the substance of what they need as it is how we make that substance substantial or valuable to them. So thank you for this. But listening to the perspective shared so far, I would want to add my voice by saying that we should also be careful not to push the children into doing stuff that they might not be wired to do in terms of their learning abilities. Because I have learned recently that some actually learn better than that. I realized instead of giving them books to read, they prefer listening, audio books.
Okay.
Perhaps it will be a question I will throw back to Sheila and Mariska to attempt to provide some answers on that. How do we help children who we would have to help discover that they are best doing or learning through audio means than the visual? How do we balance that as parents so we don't crush them, and in the process of pushing them to read, we don't let them lose interest in learning, which is the bigger subject altogether?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll take that while I'm on.
Yeah.
Audiobooks, yes, I'm having some of my books done into audio. So parents can plug them into their cars while they're on their way to drop them off at school, and they'll listen to the. I mean, we do understand PowerPoints than they would if they had to read notes. So it is something that affects everybody, not only children. And then also when you have hearing impaired children, watching the animation will give them an idea of what the story is about while they have the words in front of them. So all these have to work, together for the good of the child. And
Okay. Did we lose Mariska or is my internet?
Lost it.
Okay. All right. Then Sheila, please, you can take over.
Okay. So what I do for children who like to listen more than to read, whenever I pick my children up from school, I tell them stories. Not all the time though, but most of the time. We tell stories in the car before we get home. So the way you narrate the story and how interesting it is will make them want to learn more, will make them want to find out more. And whenever they ask me, hey, mommy, how do you know all these things? I read it. So I tell them stories. And growing up, you remember by the fireside where they told us numerous Anansi stories. Until now, we have all those things at the back of our heads because we heard it from the stories which they told us. Yes. So for children who want to listen more than they want to learn, the more you narrate, the more you tell them, the more their interest also grows. So maybe we as parents, as I said earlier on, if you don't know, you cannot tell. So we as parents, we also need to abreast ourselves with stories to engage these children. Because you can read sometimes, but then when you narrate it and you put in all the actions, it makes it more interesting. Yes, so you have to also inform yourself in order to translate or transfer it onto the children.
Wow.
And most of the time when they see me on my phone, hey, mom, what are you doing on your phone? I'm reading. I show it to them what I am doing. And they also, they realize that, okay, there's something there, because you cannot do something you don't enjoy. So if they see you doing it, they see you enjoying it, they ask you, why are you laughing? Why are you smiling on your phone? Yes. They also see that, okay, it is something that they can also enjoy, something that they can also adopt, yes, and also add to their habits or their interests.
This is giving
So
us
from
so
my
much
experience,
pressure. So much pressure. It's giving us
Yeah.
pressure. We have to, read, know the stories. Those
Yeah,
of us that
yeah,
don't read
when
stories.
a young person, when a young person asks me a question, the first thing I ask them is, do you have a phone? And if they say yes, I said, Google it. So they Google it and they get the answer. And then it's like they realize, some of them don't realize what they can get from their phones. They just think it's just playing games. So if you ask me a question, I'll say, go to Google. Then I'll spell the word out for them. And then they click and then the answer is there. And I said, you see, use your phone to learn. Use
Yeah.
your phone to read. So we also have to guide them because some of them just don't know, they just think the phone only does ringing and games,
videos
but they
and
don't know that the phone can be spelling, the phone can be there for all these other things. So we need to be the role models, that's the parents. If you can give your child a phone, you should teach them how to use Google to research and do other searches, so.
All right. Thank you. So thank you. I'm hoping we can leave here by 6:30. Such a bold time I'm giving myself, but I'm hoping we can leave here by 6:30 because I'm really enjoying the views and the perspectives. And I hope that was good for you, Evans, where they spoke about how you can incorporate different types of reading and different types of books. If it's audio, you speak to them, you read stories to them, or you tell them stories, which can also help. So I think that's okay. So Alexander, I think you can unmute yourself and then speak. I don't know if Charles still wants to go because I see he's putting his comments in the chat. But Alexander, let's hear you, if you don't mind. Okay, Foster has also raised his hand. So Foster, I think you can come up to Alex.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity.
Okay.
I was a little bit taken aback when I saw that the men were not on the call, but we are on the call. We are listening and we are enjoying and we are picking up our notes as well.
Oh, thank you.
A friend, Yam sent the link to me, and quickly I joined. I want to say that the word that has run through everybody's presentation is guide. See, if we are too busy as parents and not able to guide, then any form of reading and learning would rather disadvantage our kids instead of an advantage to them. So as parents, we need to guide them, especially with the screens, because the things they know how to do with the screen, the things they know to do with the screens, sometimes it baffles us.
Yeah.
You pick your phone, you don't know where to get what. But when these kids pick up the phones and the tablets and the other gadgets, they are easily able to do that. So if you are given the gadgets and the tablet, they need to be there to guide them on relevant materials that they will have to read to build up their skills and all that. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, thank you.
I'm very grateful.
Alex. Thank you too for just hammering it there. Like, don't leave the teachers to give them the reading habits. You too, you have to play a part. Thank you so much. Foster, I think you can speak now.
All right, thank you very much for the opportunity. This is a great program, and the topic and the discussion is very important. Now, I want to contribute to the fathers coming on board. I think it's a teamwork between fathers and mothers or husbands and wives to ensure their children cultivate the habit of reading. But sometimes the situation is such that the father is genuinely unable to add that one up. But what I will suggest is that because it's a teamwork, even if you can, because of time or work schedule or whatever, by the time you are back home, the children may be asleep or something. You still have to express that partnership through the mother or the wife. That is by finding out whether the children have been able to read, what is the progression. You have to get feedback through the mother so that you can also, maybe at the next time you interface with the children, you can also make input. Yeah. Let them know that you are aware that they are reading and all that they are reading is getting to you and you are really happy about it. It's very, very important. So we shouldn't only expect fathers to physically come on board. They can also do it through other innovative means, as I'm saying.
Costa, this perspective is I don't know, but I feel like I mean, what about weekends? You may not be there during the weekdays, but
yeah, that is what I'm saying, that the next time you interface with the children,
okay,
then of course you can also make that contribution.
Okay.
Building it on the feedbacks you have been receiving from Monday to Friday.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Very important. Very, very. You shouldn't let the children detach from that one. Let them know that from Monday to Friday, they have been seeing only mommy help them do the reading, but you are aware what is going on and you really appreciate they are doing well. You tap them at the back and build on that whilst you are now available. Help them also to read whilst mommy also takes a rest. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Now to my other contribution. It is documented that after a few weeks, I've forgotten the exact weeks. After some few weeks of pregnancy, the child inside the womb is able to pick signals.
Wow.
Is able to hear, is able to respond to certain stimuli. So, to stretch this conversation a little bit, I will want to depart a little bit from the fact that I think Sheila said as early as age 0, they are supposed to be helped to read, or that habit must be cultivated. But I think this should rather start from the womb.
Wow.
And how does this start? The pregnant mother should be able to read to the child inside of her.
Wow.
This may seem or sound like a joke, but if this unborn child is able to pick signals after some weeks in the womb, then of course you can shape and influence the child development, intelligence right in the womb by reading to this child. Of course, we talk to the child in the womb sometimes. We respond to their movement by talking, and they also respond to our talking in the womb.
Yeah.
So we can take this one further by reading, take a book and read, mention the child and read the book to him or her. He or she will hear. Yeah, and that is where it begins from. And that is the departure I want to bring to this conversation.
Wow.
Yeah,
Which is so interesting. Very, very different perspective, but very true. Very true, because now you have a lot of even mothers, you tell them, let your child listen to classical music. It makes them more intelligent while they are in your womb. And so I do not denounce the fact at all that reading to them in the womb could be very, very beneficial. So thank you. So Sheila, it's no longer 0 years, it's pre-birth now. It's pre-birth now. They're taking us back, you know. And Yonyam is saying, this is very true. I always listen to John Legend's song when pregnant, and my girl could, even before she could say much, she was singing all of them. So interesting. So interesting. Okay. Thank you so much. I said 6:30. I'm trying to see if I can round up. I have some more questions, but I don't want to stretch it. I just want to talk about, like I said, I have some teachers on the call, and I also want some sort of help for them. You know, I'm a teacher and I've been a teacher myself. So a teacher of English. So I know there's a lot of reading involved, and some people don't even like to hear anything about reading or anything. So how can we as teachers help our children, in the classroom? How do we do it? You have children who don't like reading. How do we do this? So if you can just help me to give us ideas. Sheila and Mariska.
Okay. Should I? Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
In our classrooms, we can develop these storytelling sessions where the children take turns to tell stories. So you know that today it's your turn to tell a story. By all means, you will be forced to read a book or get a story to tell. You can also come up with reward systems where the most interesting story earns a good prize, a great prize. So it becomes sort of a competition amongst the children where you want to be the one to tell the most interesting story. So you would want to read a lot of books to have something to say. Yeah. You can also have writing competitions. Wow. It's writing impacts a lot, yes, no matter the age or no matter the level. When it comes to writing, let them come up with their own creative stories to tell or to write or to produce. You can also have reading groups or reading clubs where you session the children into groups of probably 5, 4, depending on the number of children in the class. And they discuss stories amongst themselves, or they read amongst themselves, they read to each other. So each person takes turns to read their particular story or the story they have at hand. And then when they are done, they discuss it amongst themselves, or they come to stand in front of the class to present it to the class. And the group, the most outstanding group, wins a prize. I have come to learn that children are moved more by competition. When they know that there's something at stake, when they know that there's a prize at stake, they tend to put in more effort. But then at the same time, too, you are building the interest in them. So the more you push them with rewards, the more you realize that at a point, you don't even need to reward them. At a point, you realize that they are doing it on their own because they seem to enjoy the process. And then the last one is provide. As a teacher, you should have a small library in your corner where there are arrays of books, and probably you have an hour where each student picks so provide books, different sizes, different colors, and different genres. You are good to go. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Thank you so much. That's like you mentioned about 5 or 6 things in one, and I think you've covered it all. So from the teachers to you, thank you so much. Ideas: have reading competitions, have books, let them read to each other, let them read out loud, let them read in groups, do a competition, all that. You have all the ideas. Sheila has given you all of them. There's no excuse not to make your. And also, I just wanted to add, because when you were speaking, I remember, my company, we have this reading outreach where we go to children in deprived public schools to read with them. And somebody in class 1, you would expect the person to be able to read a certain kind of book. But when you give that child that book, the person can't even identify the words. So I just want to talk about having appropriate books for everybody's intelligence level and not to push them too far, because as a teacher, the students in your class, everybody's reading ability. So instead of discouraging them altogether, sometimes even in classes, they encourage you to differentiate the students. So we may be teaching a topic, but the example I'll give a certain group of students is different from the text I'll give another group, because I know their strength levels. Do you get it? So if it's not like something like you have to write a test, I mean, when I used to teach, they used to encourage it in the Cambridge system where you have different sorts of things for students. So let's also be sensitive to their intelligence level and give them texts or books that are appropriate for them so that it doesn't discourage them altogether. I think that's what I will add to you. Okay, 6:30. Okay, Mariska, if you are on, I have a nice last question for you because my time is almost up.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, so if, you know, we're speaking a lot about starting early and all that, but let's just assume my children are older and I haven't been able to really develop this reading habits in them. I mean, what can I do? Maybe I have teenagers in junior high school, JHS3 or SHS, and they don't like reading. I mean, what can I do? I can't go back to change it. What can I do differently? So this is, before Mariska answers, I just want to say, we'll be closing soon. So if you have any questions, just drop them. Otherwise, I'm going to take it like we are all good to go and then end the conversation. So please drop your questions before I end the meeting. So Mariska?
Yeah. At an older age, audiobooks are good.
Okay.
And then maybe get an app, pay for an app where they can download stories because they like to play with their phones. And then that way you encourage them to be reading what they've downloaded. So they still feel they're with the technology, but the stories are there. They can choose from the stories. You can monitor those things as to, because you're paying, you know, and you know the genre of books that are there. You just find out what they're interested in: science fiction, horror, you know, romance and all that, because at that age you can't really hide things from them. And if that's what they want, you know, you use that technology and get to them. The other thing is to get books in the house and just have them there,
Yeah.
you know, and then do deals with them that if you read 2 chapters, you will get this, or, you know, there's a way of always getting around. And then one gentleman I got cut off was mentioning about if fathers can't be around. If they can't be around, they should buy the books. Buy the books and leave them in the house. So the kids know that at least daddy has bought me books, you know. So we should also cut down on our funerals and have a Saturday with the kids. It's not every single funeral you have to go to. The dead body will not know you didn't come, you know. So, but anyway, for the older children, get books that they want. Like I said, always let them choose the books they want to read, even though they don't like reading. If it's comic books, Superman and doing all his things and his, you know, investigative things and all that, those things, they will read them.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of young Blacks who are creating comic books that are of our type that they can understand. Nigeria and Ghana are doing very well there, and I think the West Indies as well, with creating all these science fiction and action things. So it's never too late for someone to start reading.
Yeah.
But we have to make them want to read, you know.
Have to do it. It's never too
I,
late.
I am in doom at the moment, so that's
a
why everything went off. I'm lucky I've got some charge on this thing. So,
All right, what a shock.
yeah.
Okay, so you take Charles' question for me. He wants to know, what if the parents can't read or write?
If they can't read, they should tell the teacher and let the teacher recommend. And then with audiobooks, the parent can play it, you know, play it for the kids and let them listen. There are a lot of parents who can't read and write.
Yeah.
But I know some parents who can't, mothers who can't read, but they've made sure their children read.
Yeah.
So you don't need to be educated to be able to encourage. I know a cocoa seller whose kids have all been to university, and she could only read the numbers and who owes her. She couldn't read anything else. But her kids, you know, she got teachers for them. She got, you know, home teachers, reading and things like that. So if the parent really wants to, where there's a will, there's a way.
That's
Illiteracy is not an excuse.
That's
you
it.
know.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Mariska and Sheila. I really learned so much. And I'm going to come back to you to just tell us about your titles, the books, and then where we can get them. And that'll be the last thing, and then we are out of here. Evans, I'm not going to mind. Evans is asking me when we are going to have the all-male panel session. Hey, this is pressure. If I promise something on this call, I have to deliver.
Evans, half of the males you see here, I sent to. So don't say we discriminated against the males, right? Yeah, for my books, you can get them at Sheila's. Sheila's husband is the one who prints all my books. So my books are there. You can get my books in Malcolm. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at sometimes I take them places and then I take them back because they put other things in front of them. Blue Knights Bookshop at East Legon. They also have a branch, I think, on the Spintex Road. And then also from me. I mean, you can always, if you Google, you'll find my name.
Yes, if you Google, you find
on Amazon, you
she's
get
a
my name,
star.
you get my book.
She's a star. I just wanted to pick a picture because I got some pictures online. Oh, okay, yeah, I wouldn't have to forget. Okay, I had a story I had to share. Okay, I'm trying to see if you can see the internet is slowing down. I wanted to just share the cover pages of some of Mariska's books. Okay. Okay, no, this is not good. The music will play in the background. So these are some of the books. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Yes, I'm sure you can. Okay.
I have King Gota Ponchi, which is all the animals have Ghanaian surnames. So we have Mrs. Pig Breko, King Gota Ponchi, Mr. Dog Kramine, Mrs. Hen Akuko, and then Mrs. Cow Nentrie. And this is for the children to have both the English name and the tree name. And I did this mostly for our diasporan family, so the kids can start identifying tree names of our animals. So there's that one. Then there's I Love Ghana, which has everything about Ghana, but in a poem form, poetic form. And we have also the national anthem, the pledge and everything, but it's a cartoon type of girl who is telling us her story throughout Ghana. It's got the new map of Ghana and everything. Then the Proud Peacock has a story on how pride, if you have too much pride, you end up, losing out, and you're taught a lesson. And then I know she was going to show you Ice Water Seller. Is about a lady who sells water on the street, and we go through her life history and how she had been abandoned and all that, and brought in.
Okay. Thank you. My internet rather was trying to mess up. Okay, guys. So in short, please, Mariska's books are everywhere. They're on Amazon, so no excuse. And then they're on Malcolm, which is interesting because a lot of us go to Malcolm. So please, I mean, she's such an experienced writer. You have no idea. So you've spoken a lot about getting it for the children. The teachers on the call, get them for the schools. Let them have the children read it instead of getting all these foreign writers all the time, that they can't even understand. The children can't even connect. They'll be asking you, what's a reindeer? Get them King Gota Ponchi and let's just move on with it. So that's for Mariska. So please.
I also do readings in schools. So if a school wants me to come, I will come and read to the children and interact with them during their reading period. So I need to just be given at least 2 weeks notice before, and then I'll go and do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mariska. Sheila, tell us about your books and where we can get them.
Okay, so I think you can get my books at EPP some at Book Nuke. When you order from
Where
there,
is
you can get
EPP? Tell us where we can get EPP.
EPP, Legon Campus.
Okay.
Yes, and then Book Nuke is online.
Yeah, I've seen.
And then Vidya is at Osu. I think I don't know exactly where, but at Osu. And then at some of them too, we have them on display at the Print Innovation Office. So you can get some there.
Where is the Print Innovation Office?
We are located at Asalam now.
Okay. All right. And
yes. And then on Amazon also.
Yes.
On Amazon, you can get some on Amazon.
Okay. All right. So Sheila Annan is her name. She's a writer. Children's books.
Yes.
Those of you fathers, make sure you get the books for your children. Don't just come and be giving us pressure that we should invite you. Please give it to them for them to just enjoy. And 45. Okay. I just need 2 minutes. Yeah. Good. You can.
They should always, the father should always give books as birthday presents, Christmas presents, you've done well presents,
instead of
I love you presents.
Yes.
Make sure that they get books and books and books.
Okay.
You know, an autograph inside, you know, if your son is called Kwesi, to little Kwesi, this book is for you doing so well in class. Exactly. And leave it there and surprise the child. I mean, they will value those things more than giving them biscuits and sweets and singlet and whatever, you know.
Even if they don't value it today, I mean, in a few years' time, they will look back and just say, thank you to Daddy for giving me this. Okay. All right. Okay, so my final word. Ooh. Okay. All right. So I received this interesting story from one of my friends, Nana Ponsa, who shared, I mean, very interesting. It's so nice to read what he's saying. But I think he basically talked about how his dad would get him storybooks. And I've seen him now trying to write. He's written, I think, one book. And he's speaking about how his dad would get him Enid Blyton storybooks, you know, and so he's giving examples of books famous for. When he saw the topic, he was so excited and was like, I have to share my story with the world, you know. So he said his father would make him rewrite the story. So like you finish writing, you actually have to rewrite them, which is something you can add. And then that one will also just improve the creativity of the child. So let's do more as parents. There's so much more. Don't just say, read page 1 to 5. Are you finished? Okay, then good night. So that will be just for parents. And also he's talking about his dad. So fathers on the call, there's so much that you can do. So I just want to end with a summary. So far, we've learned about, I like to summarize the points. So we've learned about the fact that reading is an important foundation for the children. If somebody wants to know, okay, I just saw a question in the chat. Let me see if I can answer it. The person wants to know, I think the person wants to know how to start reading, when to start reading. Oh, the best time to start. Oh, you are late. They said you should read when they are in your womb. So 1 year, the child is already grown. So I think before you joined, we spoke about how you can get them these picture books. Sometimes it's just a picture with words. So you just show them, this is an orange, and the spelling of orange is down there, but of course they don't really know, but it registers in their brain. So there's an association between the image orange and then the word orange. And so that's what you do. So you start with that, you know, let them see words on screens and people read it to them. ABC rhymes, you know, words, red rhymes. So 1 year is cool. 1 year, I mean, someone said when they are in your womb, you should be reading to them. So at 1 year, really, let's try. And so apart from the rhymes and the videos that teach how to pronounce letters and all that, give them the books, the hard copy books. And sometimes they encourage at 1 year when the child is going to sleep, You can read bedtime stories to them. Sometimes the words register in their heads without them even seeing what it is. So I hope I've answered your question. So we spoke about that. Then our panelists and guests also told us that the parents had an important role to play. They should first make books available in the house. There should be books everywhere. Children should see that there are books. Then they should see their parents reading. Okay, not just always on Facebook, but watching videos, but you should be reading. And then you should be present with them when they are reading so that they see reading as a nice time where mommy is there and daddy is there. So the children should also be guided as they read with you. And then we spoke about, someone mentioned how other groups like churches, organizations could also help their children with literacy, just giving them the opportunity to read, making books available to them. So I think I picked that because I work with children in church. So I guess I have to find a way to incorporate it. And then we spoke about if your child doesn't like reading, you may want to find out what books they like. Let them select the books they like. And also, you can give them audiobooks, or you can just narrate the stories to them and have them also narrate to you and all that. And then we also spoke to the teachers and told them there are many fun ways to incorporate reading in the classroom, no matter the subject you teach. And Mariska said it's never too late to start. Maybe you have an older child, you didn't start at 1 year, but you can still start from today. Let them see that you are genuinely interested, and it's not just like you're forcing them to read, because like I said at the beginning, reading is fundamental. They have to read their notes to pass their exam. So teaching them to read is not just about storybooks, it's about giving them a sort of desire to consume information, because that's what is going to make them intelligent at the end of the day. So I guess that would be it. Once again, I want to say thank you to everybody. I've had one of the best conversations on writing so far, and we will see if, honestly, I'm not making it up. I've had one of the best. I've really learned a lot from Mariska and a lot from Sheila. Thank you so much. I am so, so grateful for your time. And thank you to everybody who is still here. And I don't know. Thank you. No more questions. No more. Get the books. So Mariska, Taylor, Darko, Sheila, Anna, and get the books. And let's keep reading. So thank you all so much. And just keep in touch. The next conversations on writing, we'll let you know. And from me to you is ciao. Bye, everybody. You can unmute and say bye. I mean.
Bye. Good night and happy Easter.
Okay, thank you. You too. Enjoy
For those whose children are having their first communion this evening or tomorrow, get them some books. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Sheila.
Bye. I really enjoyed myself. I learned a lot also. Thank you so much, Auntie Mariska.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have to go on a joint reading program
Yes,
together.
it's
Yeah.
true. We do. We
Please
have to.
invite the men. Don't leave them out.
We'll invite the men. Yeah, they can take us to
Yes,
lunch
we have
afterwards.
to.
All right. Thank you. Bye. I'll share my
So
slide
Evans,
at the end.
Sister Evans, we'll come near your end to come and read to the children, or to come and do creative writing with some of your students.
All right. I don't know. I don't think he's on the call. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you
Good
all.
night.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you.
Sharing my screen, and then we can go off.
What pressure is this?